right now what we could show you is that according to this latest scorecard, it's an electoral scorecard, Hillary Clinton is still over the 270 that she needs, but now 274. So it's tightened a little bit here. And where the changes have come in Arizona and Iowa, which went from toss-up to leaning Republican, and in Utah, which went from toss-up to leaning Republican. Nevada is a crapshoot. That was a toss-up, now leaning Democratic. North Carolina leaning Democratic to a toss-up. Are you keeping score here? Suffice it to say, she slid about 9 to 10 electoral votes from the last reading. Not dramatic, but it could show you how volatile this is. Again, to Real Clear Politics Associate Editor A.B. Stoddard, Charlie Gasparino, Charles Payne. A.B., what do you make of these kind of shifting sands?
Well, she has a lead, but it's thin, and it's thin in the wrong places. New Hampshire just popped out of nowhere. It was safe, and now it's not. He looks like he can take it. I think he's going to win Iowa. I think he's going to win Ohio. They're obviously, as you know, nervous about Michigan. So there's just these last-minute quakes and rumblings.
Could he win Michigan?
Support.
I mean, that would be elite.
Well, I know that as of last Thursday, there was a panic on the Democratic side. Labor was sending out bodies trying to. There's no Senate or governor's race there, so it's really sort of easy to keep people home, and it's really hard to rile them up and enthuse and get them motivated for Hillary Clinton. So they're going to have to make some investment of time there to hold it. I'm not sure that he could win it, but we don't know. But the Democrats definitely agreed internally. Their poll showed some softening, and they started to worry. Pennsylvania, obviously, they're ending the campaign there. They're worried there.
A lot, right?
And I think she had some good signs with that early voting surge in Nevada, and I guess that's out of Trump's reach now. But as I said, thin leads everywhere, thin enough to worry about last-minute surprises. And remember, his votes he has fewer voters than Hillary Clinton, but they're much more motivated. Hers are apathetic and depressed, and so it's hard to count on them showing up on Tuesday.
But, you know, to your point, Charlie Gasparino, she could get those uninspired voters to the polls. She has the ground game to do that. And I don't know how you go about, if someone's not enthusiastic, if you just drag them from their home and bring them. But they do have the resources to do that.
I'll give you just purely an anecdotal evidence. You know, I talk to Democrats, too. You know, should always do that. Talk to Democrats and Republicans. And what they're telling me is that the get out the vote effort in Florida focused myopically on newly transplanted people from Puerto Rico, Hispanics,
the Democrats part,
who would normally lean Democratic, and the Hillary people were so aggressive in trying to sign them up and register them that they were showing up at the airports. Now that's the difference. That's called ground game, and that's something that I think will add a couple of points to Hillary Clinton, no matter which way you put it. And by the way, to win an electoral landslide, she needs to win by 1 vote in Florida, in Nevada, in Pennsylvania, in North Carolina, and then it's a landslide electorally. Well, let me just make one other point.
We should point out that we've had plenty of those, like Kennedy-Nixon, close popular vote, but he won by a substantial margin.
And I just want to put the markets in context. The markets are up about 350 points right now, right? Do we have at 338? Okay. The markets, since the minute that Comey said he was restarting the investigation, lost 357 until Friday, right? They're made up most of that now. So all the markets are really saying is not that Donald Trump is going to lose or she's going to win. What this is saying is take the Comey indictment out of the equation. So remember, the markets are not necessarily saying Donald's going to lose. They're saying we don't have to put that in our equation anymore.
Well, why do they react favorably to these developments?
Donald Trump's got a 2-minute commercial, right? The final argument commercial. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it yet. It starts with a picture of Comey and Hillary, but immediately it shows a sign of Wall Street. Then you see a picture of Soros, Janet Yellen, the New York Stock Exchange, the Federal Reserve seal, NAFTA, TPP, the Mexican flag, even robots made by ABB, which is a Swiss company. Why is Wall Street afraid? That commercial right there tells you why they're afraid. They don't want these trade deals upset. Oh, by the way, I forgot Lloyd Blankfein is also in the commercial, Goldman Sachs. So, I mean, listen, Main Street hates Wall Street. In fact, Main Street hates big business. The only thing they hate more is Congress. So it's a brilliant ad in that respect. But if you're asking specifically why would Wall Street be afraid, look at the first 1 minute of that commercial.
That's interesting. You know, AB, one of the things that's come up is that Wall Street loves divided government. It's done best under you know, the White House under one party's control, Congress under another party's. The Clinton years bring that to light after '94. And that's kind of what they see going on here. What do you think of that?
I think long-term, a paralyzed government is going to continue to erode our economy, that we're not going to get back to growth until we start moving again. We need a ninth justice, and we need to pass budgets. We need to pass tax reform, maybe infrastructure.
Celebrating not getting anything done,
but
even if it's the stuff you don't want to get done.
Moving again,
Yeah.
and the government has shown in the last 10 years that it does nothing. And I think that really is detrimental long term.
Absolutely, and it's so short term, because if you look at what happened during Bill Clinton's last 6 years, he and a Republican, it wasn't gridlock. They passed, they lowered the capital gains taxes. They did welfare reform. Now he obviously moved to the right or to the center right, and you had a right Congress, right-wing Congress. But things got done, and the markets flourished. I think gridlock, like we had the last couple of years, was not good for this economy. It might have been good for the market only because the Fed printed astronomical amounts of money, and there was nowhere else to.
And at the time, we had that thing called an internet boom.
Right. Well, no, now I'm talking about, but you're right back then. We had an internet boom. We had nothing in the last 8 years other than Janet Yellen printed money, which you can't do forever. So this thing is going to pop, and then you're going to need economic growth. And I tell you, with gridlock, you generally cannot get economic growth.
But
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I agree with A.B. and Charlie, but you know, think about what happened with Ronald Reagan, the combination of Ronald Reagan and Volcker. We took a lot of pain initially. You know,
so much so, he looked like a one-termer.
Exactly. Right. Now, you know, the political wherewithal to take that kind of pain when the overarching messages are generally populist messages is the tough part about it, because I think we're going to have to take the pain first before we can ignite the economy secondly, and I don't know that there's political will for that.
Yeah, but remember, Tip O'Neill, who was the Speaker of the House at the time, and Ronald Reagan got along famously.
They did.
Tip O'Neill helped pass Ronald Reagan's tax cuts, the Kemp-Roth tax bill, I think that's what it was called at the time.
Well, he was facing a revolt from Southern Democrats, the Boll Weevils.
He was, but think about it. That's a Democratic Congress.
No, you're right.
Working with a Republican. We ain't going to get that. If we have a Republican Congress and a Democratic president, I'm telling you.
Okay, so A.B., real quickly, I want to pick your brain here. What are you going to first look for tomorrow night as returns come in? For someone who follows this stuff very well, what will tip you off early on?
You want to look at, you know, the early states are North Carolina, Florida's at 8. My goodness, if we saw Georgia too close to call, that would be a disaster. Stuff like that. I mean, anything too close to call in early blue states that can either create a path for Trump or totally shut it down.
You might get an early read?
We might.
Okay. Guys, I want to thank you very, very much.